Next we have the charge points tab. This is a very general tab. It basically will just have a breakdown of every single one of your charge points. If you have had a charge point added to your site, or if your site is just been created, or you've removed a charge point from the site it's attached to, it could be quite useful to view all your charge points at once here. They're usually in sequential order. They will be subdivided by their prefixes, so UKEVs, GBEVs, and then any special ones such as the JAM units will all be divided that way. They'll be divided into those sections, and then they'll be sequential numerically after that. So it should be quite easy to locate a specific charger, even if you're not sure what site it's attached to. From here, you can select a charge point, which will then take you to the charge point screen, which I'll explain now. Moving on now to a charge point page. You can see here, basically, you can view the charge points like this in many of our tabs, so the sites and charge points and elsewhere. But if you click on an individual charge point, it will take you to an overview of that charge point, like so. From here, you can see a great deal of useful information. You should be able to see the kilowatt rating and the amperage of the charger, obviously its name. And you should also be able to see if there's currently a session on it. You should be able to see who's charging right now, including their email address if they're a registered driver. It'll also tell you how long the session's been going on and the current consumption. This can be quite useful if you just sort of want to check in that your chargers are working correctly, or if someone claims there's an issue with their account, if it looks like they've been charging for sort of 47 hours or something like that, you'll know there's actually a problem going on. You can also have a look at the charge point summary here to get a sort of overview of the health of the charger. You can see here this charge point has been offline on and off the last month. So you can see each one of these columns is roughly a day. And you can see it being sort of intermittently disconnected and reconnected. Blue is good, that means connected. It does not mean charging. Green is charging and red is faulting. A very useful piece of information you can also find here is a historic record of the usage. You can find it sort of here. There's none currently on this charge point, for example, because it's obviously a test one, but you should be able to see a record of every charge session that's happened on this charger, including all the information we have on who used it, which can be quite useful if for some reason you need to track your usage by user or anything like that, or if you're trying to track down a specific charge session for any reason, this could be quite useful for that. If there was more data here, you could see it change when you change it from month to month, be it all the last week or all. You can also then export and download these sort of various selections. So you can specifically go, I want to see every charge session from September. You'd go September, click export, and then you'd have that information. Another function is to configure charge point. This is what you will probably be using the most and what we'll be using the most, because this is actually how you change the site on a charge point as demonstrated earlier. Here you can see you change it there, and also this is how you change a tariff group, which we'll be explaining in a moment how tariffs work. We'll probably be explaining tariffs and drivers at the same time because they're quite interconnected. Depending on the model of charger you have, if it's sort of Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3 Rolex chargers, or if it's from another manufacturer, all the information below this will appear different. So all the functions down here can vary from charge point to charge point, but which site and which tariff group you're assigned to will always be the same. This charger, for example, has the ability to enable free charge mode, which will basically make the charger just start giving power. Free charge mode can be quite useful, although it's not always used. It more tends to be an emergency measure, but it can also be useful if this sort of you're just setting up your chargers and you just want them to be in use while you're setting them up. Here we can now see this charger is in free mode, and you can simply take it out of free mode by unticking this box. And in a moment that will be that.